West works very hard to promote cultural exchanges between Korea and India. We're joined with Mr. Ramkumar, Director of the Indian Cultural Center. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here. Hello, this is Ramkumar, Second Secretary at the Indian Embassy. I'm also the Director of the Indian Culture Center. I am a diplomat by basic profession, and I joined Korea last year, and it's been a year for me here, and I look forward to my another 2 years of productive stint here in Korea. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. So, as you've mentioned, you came to Korea a year ago.
Yes.
And you have 2 more years to go in
Yes,
Korea.
exactly.
How do you like it so far?
It's a very lively society, I would say. I've been to several countries as a diplomat, and Korea is really interesting for several reasons. The first reason, as an Indian and as a government of India, what we admire is Korea as a country has transformed from nothing to such a developed country in the last 50, 60 years, which is a quite remarkable achievement as well as a learning experience for many countries, including India. So that's the reason we always attach significant importance to our relationship to Korea. So that is one aspect I always admire, the hard work and dedication of the people here.
Yes.
The second best thing is the 4 seasons, I would say. It's really wonderful. Every season you have different set of climatic patterns and changes. The whole system transforms from winter to autumn. So it's extraordinary. I would say this, I could add further, but for the time constraint, I would say these are the 2, I would say, most impressive.
First of all, could you tell us about maybe the biggest difference between an embassy and a cultural center, and also about the purpose or responsibilities of the Indian Cultural Center?
Yes. The Indian Embassy is the main platform under which all other wings exist. The embassy primarily has a political wing, which looks after the political relationship, and the economic wing, and there is a defense wing, and similarly there is a cultural wing. So embassy gives an overall perspective of the relationship, and all these specific wings focus on the relationship on that particular segment. In this premises, some embassies has the cultural wing within the embassy, and in some prominent countries we have a separate culture center which is staffed with manpower as well as resources to promote the Indian culture. So South Korea is one of such countries where we have a separate culture center.
Yes. Now, as you've mentioned, the Indian Cultural Center, I mean, you provide many, many classes, for example, classes on yoga, dance, and cooking as well. So what would be the best way to benefit from the Culture Center?
The best way to benefit from the culture center is come and join and enjoy our culture.
It's that simple?
Yeah, as simple as that. Because as a government entity, our premises is open for anyone who is interested in promoting Indian culture and the Korean culture. And we have our set of template, which is like offering classes on yoga, Hindi, as well as the dance, both contemporary as well as modern. And we have a second template called outreach activities, where we go out and do programs and performances in universities, colleges, and do the programs. So in our center, people are welcome to come and register, and all such informations are available in the websites. And yeah, the website address is indoculture.org.
Okay.
Which gives all basic information. And for additional information, we have one of our culture center in Busan. So this culture center gives information about both the centers. And our Busan center is one of the unique center in the world for the fact we have only one more similar center in South Africa. This center is run on a public-private partnership, which is a Korean national who is our Honorary Consul General of India, who is running the Culture Center with the support from the Government of India. So it's people who are in the southern part of Korea could benefit from accessing the Busan Culture Center, and people in the northern part could visit Seoul and benefit from our center.
That's great. Now, a special festival is to take place very soon at the end of this month, also to promote cultural exchanges between Korea and India. Could you tell us about it's called the Sarang Festival of India in Korea? So please tell us about it.
One of the annual cultural festival, which is usually run on a larger scale, which generally runs from 10 days to 15 days basically. And it covers not only Seoul and Busan, which are the major cities, but we also take the troops to the other parts of the South Korea and introduce them. As you may be aware, the popular narrative about India is always restricted to a couple of thoughts, which is either Taj Mahal, yoga, or tandoori. And even in dance, they know about only Kathak. But the India, as a land of cultural diversity, offers diverse art forms. So through this cultural festival, we intend to introduce to Koreans how diverse the Indian culture is and how different it is, and everything is enjoyable. So this year is the third edition of our Sarang Festival, which we started in the year 2015. And this year is also our 70th anniversary of India's independence. So we are doing it in a much bigger scale. We are bringing in some of the world-renowned artists who are like collaborated with the Western musicians or people who have got the Grammy Awards. So they are coming here to perform in Seoul. And notable person being Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia. He is one of the world-renowned flutists. And the other person is Astad Debu, who is like a contemporary dance, who used the traditional Indian dance, infused the modernity into it, and innovated his own dance movement. So he is collaborating with the Korean percussionist team, Norom Machi, and they are doing a collaborative performance in Seoul. And we also have one of the another interesting classical artist who is Vishwa Mohan Bhatt. He is also performing in Seoul. So this is going to be one of our main element of this year's Sarang Festival. In addition, we are also having the folk dances of India, which is, just to give a comparison, it would be related to your Korea mask dance. So it's like having a mask and telling the story through their actions. And also we have Rattle and Hum Society, which is from one of the northeastern part of India, which is quite connected to the Korea because of the K-pop and musics. So they are coming here to perform the contemporary music rock band. So these are the overall elements of the Sarang Festival. In addition, we have the traditional setup of Indian Film Festival as well as the Indian Food Festival. So it's a full package of elements for the Korean audience who could enjoy and experience Indian culture in various aspects.
It sounds very exciting. I mean, you have just mentioned a few of the festivals, the events and the performances, but it sounds like the festival will be packed with events and performances. So how have the Korean public responded so far to the Indian events and performances? Are there any interesting incidents that you remember that you can share with us here?
One interesting aspect, I would say, there was a Korean student named Bina Kum. She watched a movie in the Indian Culture Center some 5-6 years back, and she noticed a dance form which she could not understand basically, but it kept on in her mind and she was thinking about it. She was traveling in India and Sri Lanka for some vacation, where she got the information about the dance form. She was studying in a college in Korea then, but she just disconnected the studies, went back to India and joined that dancing academy and learned the dance for last 6 years. Now she is one of the popular foreign Odissi dancer in India, and she performs along with the Odissi artist in India. And whenever she comes to Korea, she comes to our center also and conduct classes for the Koreans, the Indian dance form what she learned. So such is the passion for the Indian dancers among the Koreans.
India is also a popular destination among tourists, I think especially among backpackers as well. I mean, so many people around the world are hoping to and also traveling to all parts of India. Is there maybe a destination that you would like to recommend to those? Or any tips you would like to give to those, backpacking or, going on vacation to India?
I would say India, we call the tag as Incredible India, which means you could dream or think of anything, you could see that in India. Be it the Alps of Switzerland or the deserts of Sahara or the hills and sceneries, you will find everything in India. So people are more interested in visiting India and experiencing the cultural differences, because nowhere in world you will feel such cultural diversity in a short span of distance and time. In any modern day countries, you have to travel quite a distance to see a new culture, whereas in India, within the same territory, within the same domain, with a single visa, you are experiencing at least multiple cultures. So that is one interesting aspect. I would say that people who in Korea want to experience any sort of tourist destination, they could go confidently to India and they will not be disappointed. Be it Himalayas, where many people go for hiking, and be it the beaches of southern part of India or architectural temples, you will get to see everything. To recommend, I would say of late, there are two destinations which are quite popular among Koreans. One is the Ladakh, which is in the northern part of India, in Jammu Kashmir, where we have the cold deserts. It's quite unique, where you go to western part of India, where you see the warm, hot deserts. This is called the cold deserts in the northern part, which is too exciting for the Koreans. And the other one is they go to the temples in southern part of India, especially in Badami and Hampi, which are all one of the best architecturally preserved ancient temples and monuments. So people are very thrilled to see something which has never experienced in the past. So this I came to know from Koreans who visit on tourism purpose. They prefer to go to places which they have not experienced or thought existing in India.
Where the extravagant Indus civilization flourished, India. Diverse cultures weave through its long history. One of the best ways to experience India's cultural diversity is at the regional festivals. As it's often said, once you visit India, you want to go back again and again. Discover incredible India on Heart to Heart. I know that India is, known to be amazingly good at math as well. The first in the world to actually introduce the concept of zero. So what is it that makes Indians so good at math? What would be your answer to that question?
This is a very subjective question. I may not be giving a right answer, but I will try what I could say. I'm also an engineer by the background, so I did prepared mathematics. So some reasons could be India primarily is an agricultural society, so they were have to closely monitor the sun star movements. They have to do the the weather patterns. So this helped them in observing and developing the astronomical science in the beginning. You could also realize that India was one of the pioneer in astronomy who first even stated the fact that the Earth revolves around the sun, which was discovered after, say, 1,000 years by the West. So India has those astronomical skills and which could have contributed to the basic mathematics, which has become the part and part of the common people. But not to justify retrospectively, I would say in the current generation, the education system imparted to the kids are quite aggressive. Like a normal kid during the classes learn at least mathematic tables for 100. So even if you ask a kid what is 84 into 85, he will give it in a second. It's not that like a Western countries where you stop at say 20 or 30 at the maximum. Like here it's very much intensive. And as a matter of fact, they don't use calculator till the college educations. In schools, calculator is strict no. So they are forced to develop the shortcut methodologies and the mathematic formulas, Bodmas rule, everything they, memorize in a way. The brain power has started working very fast. So this could have contributed in understanding the higher concepts, which could be one reason. The second reason could be the socioeconomic factors of the country, where we have put up a perception that the engineering or doctors are the most rewarding job for any student. So the students has to pursue very intensely to achieve those goals. And in the process, it's not just simple exams, like you know the concept, you clear it. It's an applied mathematics where you have to do aptitudes to master those calculations and to clear it with a big competition. So these intense practices from school days and the next stages could have been a factor, though I'm not sure. I'm just giving my general opinion. These are the factors could have contributed to accept Indians are good in mathematics. But I would say if you take the Olympiad rankings, Korea is performing well better than the Indians.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, of course, I know, and people do say that Koreans are very good at math, but it sounds like... So these kids are trained from a very young age.
Yes.
And still, schools do not allow calculators to be used?
Yeah, for examinations, you are not supposed to take calculators.
Oh, wow. Because I have seen students using calculators. Of course, I guess not a math exam, but still. We're so used to using calculators.
See, the scientific calculators are used these days, but I could confidently say I never used calculator in the schools. It was introduced only in the college or university examinations because the scientific calculator has all the mathematic formulations. You do sine, cos, tan, theta, whatever it is, everything is pre-built in it. You don't need to think about the matrices. It's already there. If students are used to, use the calculators in examinations, I think people will stop reading the subjects.
That's true. I guess it's very similar to not remembering phone numbers anymore. Because like adults, we're so used to having our smartphones all the time, having phone numbers stored or saved in our phone. We hardly remember any of the numbers anymore.
That's true. The smartphone has made it more dependent on the devices instead of our brain.
That's true. So since we're on the topic of education, what would you say, or what do you think is a major difference between Korean and Indian education?
See, I got to know about the Korean education system also during my course of stay. I found you have this 6+3+3 system of education, which is like you have elementary school, middle school, and the higher school. And your examinations are only at the last level, which is the higher school. But in India, we have this 10+2 system, which is like the first 10 years is common, one set of groupings, and the last 2 years are the higher secondary schools. In the process, we have two common examinations. Unlike Korea, you have only one at the last. So we are forced to expose to the national examinations at the 10th grade, which is also quite intensive, which will decide which stream we are going to take in the 11th and 12th. And the 12th is another deciding factor which will help us to our major in the universities. So we are exposed to two intense examinations in the process. This is one major difference. And age at which the Indian kids enter the school education system is a bit early than Koreans.
Oh, how old?
So
what age?
The normal Indian kid will enter school at the age of 5.
No, and school meaning elementary school?
Elementary school. So, whereas I came to know from my friends that in Korea it is like around 7 years or so. So at the age of say around 17, 18, Indian kids are already in the universities. So the teaching process starts very, very at an younger age. Over and above, they also these days send to the kindergarten classes, which is 2 more years of further feeding the education system. So it's like they start their schoolings, we could say somewhere around 3.5 to 4 years, and they come out by 18 years. So such is the, they have an early start compared to the Korean kids. That could be the second reason.
Okay, well, that is a major difference.
India, incredible India.
When we think of India, almost automatically we think yoga, meditation. Do you have any special techniques? I mean, do you reserve time for meditation yourself? Do you often meditate?
See, meditation is a process of deconcentration and removing the stress in itself. So people do on a periodical basis, people do when they are highly stressed up. So I don't do meditation on a regular basis, but once in a while I do when a lot of workload and which keeps me very occupied. As I said, people in most of India, I'm not sure whether they do meditation as seriously as others believe, but meditation and yoga is quite popular for the simple fact it's a process through which you are relieving yourself and you are unifying your body and soul. So you feel re-energized, you feel replenished with a lot of energy to do your big task next. So that could be the fact.
Okay. Now you're making meditation sound very simple and easy, but I've tried to meditate. It's not as easy.
True.
And yoga looks easy, but it's actually not as easy as it looks. But
Yoga, there are, these days there are many forms of yoga has come. So people think that the yoga as it is quite difficult, but what we offer in our Indian Culture Center is the traditional yoga for which is Government of India certified yoga master comes and offer the classes. And he doesn't do all the complications or he doesn't do all the modernized form of yoga. He teaches a simple, basic, traditional yoga, which is as good as very simple exercises, and people really enjoy it. There are people who've been learning the yogas at the private institutes, got an experience through our yoga workshop, and they found our yoga should be more simplistic and acceptable, and that also brings a lot of new students to us.
I see. So if you're interested in yoga, I guess...
you should come to our culture center.
She'll check out the culture center.
Or you could request for a yoga workshop. If you have a good crowd and if you have an organization, request the culture center. We send the team to your center to do the yoga workshop and demonstration to introduce the basics of yoga. Once people like it, and then they could come and join the centers.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you for that bit of information. What is it that you would like to achieve? Do you have any goals, or what would you like to achieve during the remainder of your tenure here?
I would say, we always say to all our Korean friends that we have one of the strong political and economic relationship, but the cultural relationship tends to be a bit weaker compared to our strong relationship. So as part of my tenure, my primary objective is to take the Indian culture to the nook and corner of the Korea, to introduce to various Korean audience, and to show them that what you think about India is something not correct. We have a lot of similarities. We are more close as part of the larger Asian culture. And I want to make them understand the Indian culture is very close to their culture and there are a lot of similarities. And this understanding will help the two countries and the people-to-people relationship build, which is very crucial for the relationship. So if I could make another 100 people like about India, I think my job is done.
Okay. I'm glad that you have many wonderful things to say about Korea. Although you've only been here for a year, you have 2 more years to spend in Korea. We hope that you will be able to enjoy every moment of your 2 years here. I wish that you achieve all your goals, dreams, by all means. And thank you for giving us this wonderful opportunity to find out about India and its diverse charms. Thank you so much once again.
And I also thank you for giving us the opportunity to introduce our cultural center to the Korean audience. I think we could do 100 programs, but your one program will take us to another set of new peoples who might not have got access to the Indian Culture Center. So we thank once again for your program and Arirang TV for helping us in introducing the Indian Culture Center.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.